Walk us through this new decision regarding pornography websites, and not just for Texas, but the whole country.
Yeah, I mean, really, our entire history, we've protected children from going into the military, drinking under a certain age, drugs, contracts, getting married. This is really no different. The Free Speech Coalition, which was put together by the porn companies, I guess that's a better name for them than porn companies, argued that we had gone too far protecting children that were 18 or younger. And certainly I'd understand their argument if these were adults, but we have a long history in Texas of protecting children. And I believe, and I think it's our history, that states have every right to protect children from things they would view as dangerous to children.
Well, and not only that, but there's certainly any number of websites and businesses out there where under 18 are already either restricted or face some type of regulation to be able to use the services. It's just, for some reason, this one, above all others, has been the one that was exempted.
Well, it's interesting. They actually, the Free Speech Coalition actually did not disagree that we had the right, that a state had a right to regulate it. So that even they, given our history and the precedent, had a hard time arguing that we were wrong in regulating. They just made the argument that we can't do it the way we're doing it. And then they offered up solutions that don't work and that have been tried in the past. So that way they could have their cake and eat it too. They could make an argument that didn't sound crazy, but at the same time, if they were successful, they'd still get to do what they wanted to do and still make the money off of what they're making the money off of.
And so what this really comes down to is that it seems that a lot of them probably tacitly knew, they have the ability to check who's on their website. They probably knew that they were making money from under 18.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. They wouldn't have been fighting this in such a kind of clever way of, changing their name to Free Speech Coalition and, agreeing with our arguments that there could be a regulation. But yet they fought hard. They took us all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And there was a reason they did that. And I think it's the bottom line. They make a lot of money doing this.
And resounding victory, by the way, 6-3. This idea that I read some of the dissent in this, and quite honestly, I don't know if you had a chance to read any of them, but some of them just seemed a little bit silly in some of the things that they were saying. There's tons of precedent historically for states to regulate this, and many other businesses, industries, especially when it comes to children. And I saw some of the justices trying to argue that there wasn't any precedent behind that. It just seemed ridiculous to me.
I was at the court argument. I honestly thought we had a good chance of winning 9-0 because the history's there, and it's shocking to me that the three little judges were open to knocking down states' laws protecting children. It just seemed kind of extreme on their part, given the fact that there's plenty of precedent. And two, why shouldn't the legislature be able, on public policy grounds that they have passed because they were elected to do so, protect children? There's just so many examples of it. Why now is the Supreme Court saying that's unconstitutional? At least the dissent.
Exactly. And the truth is that pornography in America, it's just run amok with the internet. And so taking the fight to push back on this, whether it's you, A.G. Paxton, coming up to the Supreme Court all the way from Texas for age verification. First Lady, of course, was championing this bill, which is passed now into law regarding revenge porn. We're taking steps, it feels like, but the fight has really only just begun.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a big first step. I'm sure they'll try to find ways around it. But ultimately, this is a free country. We have First Amendment rights. But as it relates to children whose brains are not fully developed and who can be impressionable and take things in they shouldn't take, parents should have that control. There should be no reason why states cannot protect children. It's common sense.